uterus. Like many girls in Bangladesh, Shahin was married young at age 10 and was pregnant at 12. When her labor was obstructed, her in-laws waited 2 days before taking her to the hospital.
The pain was unbearable. Then I had convulsions and lost consciousness. When I woke up, they told me the baby was dead. After 7 days, urine started to leak out of me.
The trauma of childbirth had caused a hole to form between Shahin's bladder and her vagina, leaving her incontinent. This condition, known as obstetric fistula, afflicts at least 2 million women and girls worldwide. Shahin became an outcast.
People who used to love me said, "Go away, you are smelly." I was very sad and alone.
Fistula occurs because girls get married early, very early, 12, 13, 14, 15, and often have children very early and by an unskilled deliveries.
Delays in getting proper delivery care can be devastating. Shahanaz developed fistula and also lost her uterus.
I can never have children. A woman without a child has no dignity.
Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm going to be climbing Mount Everest. Well, not exactly. I'm actually going to be climbing the 14 floors from the basement of my apartment building to the roof terrace of the building, which, if you were to average about 10 to 12 feet per floor, which is what the building people tell me, then we get to about 120 feet. Mount Everest is 29,029 feet high, roughly the height of cruising altitude for an airplane, commercial airplane. And if I'm a little conservative and I say it's 8 feet per floor, just to make sure I climb it, then that means I have to climb those 14 floors approximately 260 times, which I'm giving myself a year to do that for sicknesses and travels and so forth, all for a good cause. This is for the Fistula Foundation, which is an organization that uses donation money to promote the education and awareness of fistula in the world, and more specifically to provide medical training and resources for the treatment of patients suffering from obstetric fistula. So, you can go to First Giving. I have links here and in the description for this video to donate. It comes out to about $100 a foot to climb, and that may seem a bit expensive, perhaps it is, but it's all for a very good cause, so please feel free to fund a few inches or a few feet even. If you keep in mind that you can actually approximately fund one fistula surgery for about $300 to $400. If you can support 3 or 4 feet of climbing, then you actually will, on average, help one woman receive treatment for this really terrible injury. So I hope you'll consider donating, and thanks for visiting. I'll be posting each of my climbs. Might get a little boring. I'll have to try to find some way to make this interesting, but I'll be posting each of the climbs that I do. In theory, it will be 260 of them over the next year. And I hope you'll check back with me if you're interested in this, and consider donating. Thanks very much.
It's staggering that in the 21st century a woman dies every minute in childbirth. And to make matters worse, for every death there are 20 more women who are injured giving birth. Those childbirth injuries are horrible, and the worst of them are called fistulas. Fortunately, there's a special place for women who are the victims of fistulas. It's the Addis Ababa Fistula Hospital in the capital of Ethiopia.
And there's no fecal incontinence.
Fistulas typically happen when a teenage girl is too small for the baby to come out. The baby dies and she suffers internal injuries that leave her with a constant trickle of urine and sometimes stool through her vagina. The hospital staff here jokingly call this place Puddle City. This is Simish, and she suffered a fistula 2 years ago. I was introduced to Simish by Ruth Kennedy. Ruth is a midwife who works very closely with the founder of the Fistula Hospital, Catherine Hamlin. I think of Dr. Hamlin as the Mother Teresa of the 21st century. Ruth helps Simish tell me her story.
She said, compared to what I was when I came in, I'm so much better. She's just a doll.
2 years ago, shortly after she married, Simish became pregnant. When it came time to deliver, she began to suffer obstructed labor. Her neighbors carried her to a road and packed her onto a bus. But it took another 2 days to get to the nearest hospital. The baby was dead. The pain of losing her baby was compounded by the horror of finding that she was leaking urine and feces.
Contraction because she was in the bed for
2 years. She was curled up. Why did she curl up? Does she know?
ለምንድን ነው እንደዚህ ጭብጥ ብለሽ የምትተኙው ነበረው? እና እግርሽ እንደዚህ እንዲቆራመድ የሆነው ስለሚያምሽ ነው?
እዚህ ጋር ስለሚያምሽ. She had pain. Yeah, it's pain, the pelvic pain. It's a natural position when you get cramps to curl up. But there's also the fetal position is the position you take when you're in depression.
I see.
Yeah. And they go through very deep depression. Did she ever feel like dying?
ትሞቻለሽ ብለሽ ታስቢ ነበር ወይስ ትድኛለሽ ብለሽ ነበር ልብሽ የሚመኘው?
ሞታለሁ ብዬ ነው. She did. Yeah, she did. We estimate about a 90% suicide ideation amongst the girls, where they've considered suicide as their only way out. Because they're abandoned. Did her husband abandon her?
ባለቤትሽ አብራችሁ ናችሁ እንደሆነ አለ ባልሽ?
የለም.
ፈታሽ?
አዎ በአራት ወር አስታመመኝ ከዛ በኋላ ጠፋ.
For 4 months. Was giving care for her about 4 months. After that,
and then he left her. And then who took care of her?
Unable to travel, Simish spent 2 years curled up in a fetal position on the floor of her hut. She barely ate, because the more she did eat or drink, the more waste trickled down her legs. Simish had heard of a distant hospital that could repair such injuries, so her family paid $10 for a public bus to take her there. But the other passengers took one whiff of her and complained that they shouldn't have to share the vehicle with someone who stinks. The bus driver ordered her off.
This is a very extreme case, but a tragic case, and we get these too. We get a lot of them, don't we? Too many, sister.
And so today she is severely malnourished, and her legs are withered and frozen in that fetal position. Last month, Simish's parents sold all their farm animals. They paid a driver to take her to the hospital. They had to charter the entire vehicle so that there would be no other passengers there to complain.
And we tell them they haven't been cursed by God, that they're beautiful, and the only reason they got a fistula is because we failed them as health professionals. If this had happened to men, if it had happened to the wealthy, if it happened in the West,
Right.
it wouldn't, if it happened where there were health facilities, it wouldn't exist. But it's because they're poor, they're illiterate, they're undernourished, that this has happened.
So what happens to a woman like Simish? Well, there's a good chance she'll be operated on by a former fistula patient, Mommy too. We have the list of the surgery here, and it's, doctor, and then there's one who isn't a doctor, and that's Mommy too. Mommy too never went to school and didn't know how to read or write, but she helped out in surgeries at the Fistula Hospital. Eventually, she began doing the surgery herself. Today, she's one of the world's foremost fistula surgeons. Gynecologists from all around the world have been taught by Mommy too. It's just amazing to see her in action. Mommy too shows us that we should never, ever write off women who suffer childbirth injuries.